Welcome to the District 98 Math Flipped Professional Development on Math Problem Solving and the Common Core Standards for Mathematical Practice. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you with information regarding the shifts in math problem solving and how it affects math instruction, as well as some strategies we can use in District 98 to help our students persevere in problem solving and model and communicate mathematically. Let's get started. The standards for mathematical practice outline what educators can do to develop mathematically proficient students. The instructional activities teachers choose need to provide opportunities to connect the math practice standards with the content standards. With the Common Core Standards for Mathematical Practice, there has been a shift in what problem solving looks like in the math classroom. We need to move away from the idea of using problem solving to practice a skill or concept that has been learned, or the idea that there's a single correct answer with a single correct procedure when problem solving. 2, teaching content through problem solving, using problems as entry points to the curriculum, presenting problems that allow math concepts to emerge, and giving students problems that can be solved using multiple strategies or problems that are open-ended. So what does this problem solving shift look like in the classroom? Teachers providing opportunities for student-to-student interactions, creating opportunities for mathematical dialogue between students, where students are encouraged to discuss their reasoning. Teachers providing just enough information to establish background or intent of the problem, and then students clarifying, interpreting, and attempting to find a solution. Teachers accepting right and wrong answers and addressing student misconceptions using those wrong answers. Teachers guiding, coaching, asking insightful questions, and sharing in the process of solving problems. Teachers knowing when it is appropriate to intervene and when to step back and let the students work through the problem, making them responsible for their own learning. And encouraging students to make generalizations about patterns and concepts. So what can we do in District 98 to help our students become more mathematically proficient? The first math practice standard is making sense of problems and persevering in solving them. With the increase in rigor that the Common Core standards bring, this standard is especially important to reinforce with our students. When students are problem solving, we want them to be able to make a plan for solving, try their plan, and then evaluate whether or not it worked. To help our students find success with this first math practice, we can implement a 5-step problem-solving plan. This plan can be used from kindergarten to 8th grade, which will create a universal language with our students when they are problem solving. The first step of the problem is identify. Here's where the students are going to ask what information is important in this problem. Step 2, summarize. Students will find what are we being asked to find in this problem. Step 3, plan your model. How are you going to solve this problem? What is it going to look like? Step 4, solve. And step 5, check and justify. Does my answer make sense? By using this plan, we are giving our students a starting point and a tool to use when problem solving. The rest of this presentation is going to take a look at the 5 steps in more depth and discuss a strategy teachers can use to help our students navigate through these steps in small groups. This strategy is called a reciprocal teaching approach. Reciprocal teaching is an instructional strategy in which the students guide small group discussions. This strategy is a student-centered approach that improves comprehension through communication and reinforces their speaking and listening skills. Reciprocal teaching is also going to reinforce Math Practice Standard 3 by providing students with opportunities to justify their reasoning and critique the reasoning of others. As students communicate their ideas to their groups, they will also be attending to Precision, Math Practice 6, in terms of practicing how to speak using mathematical language. So here's how the strategy works. For the reciprocal teaching process, groups of students are going to be given a set of cards. On these cards are directions and or questions that will guide the students through the 5-step problem-solving process. Here's what the first card looks like. The first card says, please get ready to read the problem. So one student would start with this card in front of them and they would read what is on this card out loud to their group. And then everybody in the group would have to do what the card says. So everybody in the group would have to show that they're ready to read the problem and to start the problem-solving process. Students then take turns reading the cards so everybody has a chance to lead the group. So the student who started with the card would read it, make sure everybody's doing what they said, and then pass the card to the next person, and the next person would read the next card. The cards you will see in the next couple of slides are designed for students grades 3 through 8. On Wednesday, December 10th, when we have our professional development, there will be a sample of a modified version that can be used for grades kindergarten through 2nd grade. The second card says, please read silently. And then the third card says, let's read the problem again. Will someone please read the problem out loud to the group? And again, the cards rotate to each member of the group, so everybody's getting a chance to lead the group. The fourth card is where our first step of our problem-solving plan comes in. So the fourth card is going to tell the students to identify. And it's going to ask the question, what information is important in this problem? Discuss and record. So every time the words discuss and record are on a card, this is going to prompt the students to discuss what the question is asking and to record it on their graphic organizer. One helpful hint is to prompt the person who is reading this card to be responsible for starting the group discussion. These words discuss and record are going to show up on several of the cards, so if the person who is reading this card has to start the discussion, then everybody eventually in the group will have an opportunity to start the discussion, and it will hold everybody accountable for participating in the group. So in this step of identifying, this is where students are going to be identifying keywords in the problem. Keywords that might mean an operation or might indicate a relationship between values. They're going to be looking for math vocabulary, any given values or given numbers that they need to work with, or again, any relationships between numbers that are going to be important. The next card says summarize. This is step 2 of our 5-step problem-solving plan. The summarize card says, what are we being asked to find, and be specific, discuss, and record. During this step, the students need to figure out what the problem is asking them to find out. The more specific they are, the easier it will be for them to recognize whether their answer makes sense. During the steps, students might consider, what is my answer going to look like? Or what are the units going to be? The next card says plan your model. This is step 3 of our 5-step plan. And the plan your model card says, how will we solve this problem? What does it look like? Discuss and record. So in this step, students will have the opportunity to discuss how they are going to solve the problem. What are they going to do first? How are they going to understand the math in the problem and reason towards a solution? A model is anything that the students create to help them make sense of the math. A model can be a table, picture, diagram, number line. It can be a strategy like an organized list for guess and check. A model can be an equation or a math tool like a property or formula. Basically anything that allows the students to visualize the math that is occurring in the problem. As students are discussing the model they want to use, it is important to let students know that if the model or strategy they initially choose isn't working for them, that they can choose another method for solving the problem. The next card will say solve, and the directions say solve the problem with your group, record all work. During this step, students will be taking all the information they found and organized and will begin solving this problem. This is where the learning concepts through problem solving occurs. This is when the teacher monitors student understanding to assess when it is appropriate to intervene and assist in the learning process. Teachers might ask, what do I need to do to support my students? What questions could I ask to guide their thinking? Are there any misconceptions that I need to clear up? Maybe the teacher notices that one group has a misconception that needs to be clarified before they continue. Maybe the teacher notices that the entire class has a misconception about something and you need to bring the whole class together quickly to clarify and then release them again to work. It is important to give students the opportunity to struggle with the math and only offer assistance when needed. The last card is going to be our last step of our plan and says check and justify. Does this answer make sense? Why? Discuss and record. Finally, the cards will prompt them to check their work and explain the work that they were doing. This last step is an effective problem-solving plan and asking, does my answer make sense? It gives the students an opportunity to use multiple practice standards, specifically attending to precision. In order for students to justify their solution, they need to be able to communicate effectively about why their solution makes sense. This step opens the door to writing opportunities in math class. Writing prompts such as explain the strategy you used to understand this problem, or explain why your answer makes sense, allows the students time to practice writing mathematically and justify their reasoning in words. On this next slide, you can see all of the A cards together. So all the A cards we went to, this would be the reciprocal teaching approach that's going to guide them through the 5-step problem-solving plan and really help them persevere in solving these problems. On Wednesday, December 10th, you will have an opportunity to look at grade level math problems and discuss with your grade level teams methods for using these problems to teach content, as well as how to use the reciprocal teaching strategy to build problem-solving skills. Thank you for joining me today to explore math problem solving in the classroom. Please go back to the Google Doc to watch a short video of the reciprocal teaching strategy in action.